Hello, everyone. This video is going to go over part 1 of chapter 9, which is about writing the body of a story. This video will focus primarily on the inverted pyramid style. Now, when we talk about the parts of a story, there are some key terms that you need to know, and we've already talked about a few of them. The headline is the top part of the story. It's typically what your readers will read first and most. There is a large amount of research that shows that many people just read headlines. And so it's very important that you write headlines very well. The next most read thing is your lead, and we have spent 2 modules going over how to write leads. And then you have the body of your story, and the body really is the part of the story that comes after the lead. Now, there are many aspects of things that you can include in your body, such as images, quotes, pullouts, things like that. But when we're talking about the body of the story, we're really meaning anything after the lead. So the body of the story should contain 5 W's and an H. It needs to be arranged within a structure as well. Now, your textbook refers to a metaphor of a train where your lead, your central idea is kind of the tracks, and then you have kind of the structure and outline of the body becoming the tracks that the train can run on, and each car is what the information of your story is based upon. So if you do not have a good organization for the body of your story, it really can lead to disastrous consequences for your writing. So the various aspects that you need to include within the body of your story include your research. You need to ensure that all of your information is verified, that you have talked to multiple sources, that you have gotten quotes from those sources that will give color, opinion, emotion to your piece. And then you typically need to include some form of multimedia storytelling, such as images, links, videos, etc. You will also need to ensure that the transitions between your paragraphs within the body of your story are clear and can help the reader follow your train of thought. We will be talking about that in week 5's modules. But the body of your story is important because you still need to keep your audience's attention. So while the lead is meant to grab the attention, the body really has the job of keeping the audience's attention until the end. So those are all things that you have to think about when writing the body of your story, which of course can be very challenging because you're juggling multiple things at once. So one way to organize the body of your story is through the inverted pyramid style. You can see an example of it here. There are many different forms of the inverted pyramid. I use this one primarily because it shows the cut points, which is really one of the benefits to using the inverted pyramid style. When we as writers are looking to be concise and to shorten our copy as much as possible, the inverted pyramid style allows someone to cut off the story at the appropriate point without losing important details or facts. And this is actually why it was originally created, so that if editors had to go in because there was not enough space physically within a newspaper column, they would just go and cut at a certain point, knowing that the most important details were on top. And that's really the main idea behind the inverted pyramid style. You want all of the important information on top, and then as you go along, you add additional quotes, you add additional detail, and additional commentary. So the benefits of using an inverted pyramid style is that your most important information is at the beginning. This allows the audience who doesn't read or make it to the end to still know what's happening, so that if they walk away after paragraph 2 or only 15 seconds pass by on a broadcast, that person still understands the gist of the story. I think the inverted pyramid style is good to start learning as beginning media writers too, because it allows the writers to consider the newsworthiness of the information and organize it as such, because you're really trying to put the most newsworthy aspects up top, which means that you as a writer have to determine what is most newsworthy. So it's really good practice for you determining what is news. The inverted pyramid style also allows you to discover holes in your information because as you're organizing and flowing down, it allows you to see what are the large gaps up top that you need to continue to research and get information on. The inverted pyramid style allows for clarity in terms of the information flow. So it's the reader can know that the most details are up top, and then um, you kind of get less important information at the bottom. And like we said, your editor can go in and cut or shorten your copy based on the flow of information. But there are many disadvantages to the inverted pyramid style as well. In fact, journalists have started calling it overused, confusing, and irrelevant. So the reason for that is because it's very rigid. It causes you to have to follow a formula and it discourages creativity in your writing. However, when you're first writing, or if you're trying to get something done quickly, having this pattern allows you to just kind of take the most important information, put it on top, organize it pretty efficiently and quickly. And so it gives you good practice as you're learning, or if you're a professional, to get stuff done quickly. So another issue is that because you have to place the most important information up top, typically within your lead starting out, you sometimes have to repeat yourself to make the rest of it make sense. So it can become repetitive over time. And also, research has shown that less educated people find it harder to understand news copy that is written in inverted pyramid style because they have difficulty getting through those like bulky, important facts up top before they can get to some of the more colorful and descriptive language down below. So, honestly, the inverted pyramid style is still very widely used in the industry, although it is not as rigidly adhered to as it once was. So you can organize your information using the inverted pyramid style, which is on the left, or the alternative inverted pyramid style on the right by emphasizing people first. People are what matter. They are what are newsworthy typically. And so the things that relate to your audience the most need to go on top. So those newsworthy elements, the news values that we have already talked about, those things need to go on top to allow them to catch the reader's attention and then keep them going through the bottom of the pyramid. Now, it's important to note that after the lead and really your second paragraph in the alternative inverted pyramid style, the facts tend to be pretty similar in terms of importance. And this is pretty common with most news stories. It's hard to tell whether the location of a car crash is equally as important as, let's say, what entities were involved, so like what police department. So it may be hard to determine which one is more important. So therefore, you're kind of using that alternative inverted pyramid where the most important information is on top, but then it's hard to kind of say exactly what is most important below it. That's the idea behind that alternative style. And this is very common in broadcasting where your lead sentence is going to be most important, but then you're just really providing a series of facts that are equal in importance afterwards. So both styles are widely accepted in news writing. Now, after you provide those newsworthy elements on top, you're going to add quotes and additional descriptions below and keep the less essential information on the bottom. So your second paragraph is almost as important as your lead. It should emphasize what is newsworthy within this inverted pyramid style. You're going to want to identify any sources and subjects that you kind of described in a delayed descriptive nature in your lead. So if you said, an officer was shot today, then you need to identify who is the officer in your second paragraph. You also need to provide a smooth transition from your lead to second paragraph. They should not be disjointed. So you're going to want to avoid leapfrogging, which is forgetting to connect the general description to the name. So you need to be very clear when you're listing the source or subject's name the second time that you're connecting it to that general description. For instance, if I said, a teenager was arrested for committing a crime today. And then I said, you know, um, Patrick Devers was charged with second-degree assault, but I didn't tell you that Patrick Devers was the suspect from the original description in the lead, then that's considered leapfrogging because you're having to jump over the connection between the name and the description. Also, shifting topics too widely between your lead and second paragraph can be disorienting for your reader. They really should flow together. So you're wanting to stick with a similar topic from the lead to the second paragraph. Having too many names or sources with a lot of detailed information in your second paragraph isn't great either, because you don't want to overwhelm the reader. And then that still follows with having too much detail on top. So typically by the second paragraph, you want to have between 4 and 5 of the 5 W's and H answered, but you might want to hold something back, at least in terms of like detailed description for later paragraphs, so it doesn't become overwhelming for your reader. So you can see here, this is an article from CBS News about the 5 boats that sank during the Trump boat parade around the first of the month. Now here you can see the lead says the Sheriff's Department in Austin, Texas said 5 boats sank during a boat parade in support of President Trump on Lake Travis on Saturday afternoon. This is written in passive voice, by the way, which is not super great, but that's okay. The Travis County Sheriff's Office said they responded to a total of 15 distress calls, which varied and included boats sticking on water, stalled engines, capsized boats, and boats sinking. So this is really a 2-sentence lead, but you could argue that the second sentence is really the second paragraph. They're just connected ideas. And then it says TCSO said as of Sunday, 3 boats have been towed out of the water and 2 remain submerged. So you can see the most important information is on top. We have 5 boats that sank during a boat parade in support of the president and its location. We have that information attributed to the Sheriff's Department. And then you can notice that we gave a general description of the Sheriff's Department in the first sentence, and then we actually include the full name of the Sheriff's Department in the second sentence. By the third sentence, we are abbreviating it, which allows us to shorten our copy, but you can see the amount of detail kind of varies between the 3 sentences following inverted pyramid style. You can also tell that, we have 5 boats that sunk, which is the most important thing, but then we provide some additional detail, which is not as important, but still pretty important, that 15 distress calls went out. And then by the second paragraph, the third sentence, we have more detail that 3 boats have been taken out of the water, but 2 remain submerged. So it's providing an update, which again is less important than 5 boats being sunk. So you can see how we're starting to follow this inverted pyramid style with this report. Now, ending is also really important in the pyramid. While a lot of times we kind of throw away endings with the inverted pyramid style because there's an expectation that that ending will be cut, we really need to use the end of our story to nail down final details for that central point, leave an impression on our readers. And we're not wanting to keep something back until the end, but you need to provide like a resolution or solution if at all possible. So here's a story about how Southern California set record temperatures over Labor Day weekend. And how they end is that the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power and Southern California and Edison reported small outages on Saturday. So this is a less important detail because where we're talking about setting record temperature, some small outages is not nearly as important. But then we provide a resolution at the end. The California Independent System Operator has asked residents to voluntarily cut back their electricity consumption from 3 to 9 through Monday. So here we're providing a temporary solution to this heat wave for California residents. It's not going to be something that completely solves the heat wave, so it doesn't rank as importance of setting temperatures, but it does allow us to kind of provide a resolution to this information and end properly. So I like how your textbook says open with a punch and close with a kick. And this is a great way to think about this. I know Chuck Norris would write this way if he could, but we want to really grab our reader's attention right at the beginning and then provide them with a kicker at the end. And a kicker just kind of means some way to wrap up the story in an interesting way that will leave a lasting impression on your viewers. So that's a quick overview of the inverted pyramid style. We don't have a discussion post for today because I really want you to focus on your homework, which will be going through the workbook, chapter 9, exercise 2. You're going to write 3 full news stories based on the news releases provided in your workbook in inverted pyramid style. So I suggest the first thing that you do is go through and pick out the most important facts and start ranking those facts and information in terms of what is most to least important. That will help you craft the stories within your workbook. Then you're going to do your AP style homework, which will be on commas.